Hi everyone, today I'm telling you about the Handmaiden, 2016 South Korean erotical psychological thriller film.
Kouzuki presses for more details. Fujiwara convinces him to give him one of his cigarettes, after which he disgustedly refuses to give further details. Kouzuki notices the cigarettes are producing blue smoke. Fujiwara reveals that his makes up a story about making love on their wedding night, while a flashback shows that he watched Hideko masturbate before cutting her own hand on a knife to stain her sheets, refusing to consummate the marriage. When Kouzuki captures Fujiwara upon receiving a letter from Hideko detailing Fujiwara's deception, he tortures Fujiwara in his cellar with his collection of antique bookmaking tools and presses him for sexual details about his niece, Fujiwara, to pass out while she takes the money and leaves. The women reunite and flee together, disguising Hideko as a man to avoid detection. Few days, causing Hideko to question Fujiwara's desires. Sook-hee's friend Bok soon sets a fire at the asylum and poses as a firefighter to rescue Sook-hee. Hideko doses Fujiwara's wine with drops from the opium vial, causing him. Part 3. After leaving Sook-hee at the asylum, Fujiwara and Hideko eat together, where Fujiwara wants Hideko to marry him again, this time as Sook-hee, as they have switched identities. He also reveals that Sook-hee will be dead within the men who have been manipulating them. Hideko shows Sook-hee the books she was forced to read and Sook-hee begins destroying the library. Hideko calls Sook-hee her savior and joins in destroying her uncle's collection room and tries to hang herself. Sook-hee saves her and both admit to their plots. Hideko helps Sook-hee write a letter to her family to say she has teamed up with Hideko, and to hatch a plot to get Hideko and Sook-hee away from. While being instructed by the Count, who takes advantage of Sook-hee's illiteracy, Hideko unexpectedly falls in love with her. Hideko tries to confess her love, but when Sook-hee insists the marriage go on, Hideko throws her from the opium with which to commit suicide, so that she can never be taken to the basement alive. Hideko demands the Count find her a girl to hire as a maid, to commit to an asylum in Hideko's place. In the more recent past, the Count realizes seducing Hideko would be impossible and instead includes her in the plan to elope and then split her inheritance. When Hideko expresses her fear of her uncle, the Count gifts her a vial of Hideko takes over as the reader for the auctions. When Hideko questions the description of a hanging in a book she has to read, Kouzuki tells her that he murdered her aunt using torture devices in the basement after she attempted to run away. Sadistic pornography since she was 5 years old. The flashbacks show a regimen of psychological and physical abuse that gradually degrades the sanity of Hideko's aunt, who is eventually found hanged from a tree in the yard, and so, asylum that she is the Countess to have her committed in Hideko's stead. Part 2. A series of flashbacks show that Hideko's reading practice was in fact Kouzuki teaching her to erotically read. When Kouzuki leaves on business for a week, Hideko and Fujiwara elope. After cashing out Hideko's inheritance, it is revealed that Hideko's naivete was part of a con. She and Fujiwara double-crossed Sook-hee and convinced the plan, but when Hideko herself suggests she loves someone other than the Count, Sook-hee insists on the marriage. Hideko slaps her and violently throws her from the room. Frustrated from a reading, Hideko demands Sook-hee sleep next to her. The two end up making love, under the pretext of preparing Hideko for her married life with the Count. Sook-hee begins expressing reluctance about the gold mine. Kouzuki then uses this wealth to feed his obsession with rare books, selling forgeries to further accumulate money and books. Sook-hee's main job is to help Hideko prepare to read for Kouzuki's guests. Returning, He hires a pickpocket named Sook-hee to become Hideko's maid and encourage Hideko to marry him. Hideko lives with her Uncle Kouzuki, a Korean man who helped the Japanese take over his country in exchange for aid. In Japanese-occupied Korea, a con man operating under the sobriquet of Count Fujiwara plans to seduce a Japanese heiress named Lady Hideko, then marry her and commit her to an asylum in order to steal her inheritance. Cigarettes had been laced with mercury and the toxic gas within the smoke kills them both. On a ferry to Shanghai, China, Sook-hee and Hideko celebrate their newfound freedom by making love once again.
Thank you for subscribe. See you later.